sometimes as ABCs, we bought into their narrative about us. That's why I see so many ABCs push away from the culture.
That's what I hate too, man.
All right, everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Fung Bros Food. We are in the middle of New York's Chinatown on Mott Street at a brand new restaurant called Char House, and they are bringing a new concept to the game. It's like a Chinese steakhouse, something, in my opinion, and through my travels, I've never seen before. But we got Chef Eric and we got local business owner Chris here, and we are going to be not only having a feast, but having a very interesting discussion today.
Of course, we're gonna be talking about the food. We're gonna be talking about how Chinatown, New York is changing. And of course, we're gonna be talking about the controversial G word, gentrification.
All right, starting off, Eric, you actually cooked all this food, man. What is Char House and what are we looking at?
The steakhouse concept is very American, so we wanted to do something unique, and because I grew up in Chinatown, I wanted to represent where I come from. Here we have the classical tomahawk steak. It's done salt, pepper, real simple, dry aged fat. There's 5 spiced shishito peppers, red wine sauce, or poivre sauce, that's French. Wasabi butter, that's just different. Here we have our salad, the dragon slaw we call it. It's inspired by a salad in Malaysia and Singapore. Here we have the whole fish, and the whole fish is very representation of longevity in the Chinese culture, so we kept that traditional, but instead of steaming, we did grilling and roasting. Here we also have the scallop and foie gras, very classical French combination, but we tied it together to be Chinese with the sweet potato puree and some black garlic and lotus chips. Here's our classical steak tartare, very classical American steakhouse dish. Here we have a traditional steakhouse crab cake, jumbo lumps, and we have our green sriracha and ginger remoulade to Chinese-ify it. XO sauce is a very famous sauce from Hong Kong. We make it here in our own fashion with dried scallops and shrimp. And we bind it with tomato jam, and we have some prosciutto chips. Here we have a classic Caesar salad, except want to represent the chrysanthemum green. In Chinese we call it tong ho. So it's a very traditional dressing, Parmesan cheese.
Chris, have you ever seen a Chinese-inspired steakhouse before?
No, I've eaten a lot of places, but this definitely takes the cake.
I think you want to let people know that they can get a very fine steak in Chinatown served and conceptualized by a Chinese person.
I feel like we would be remiss in not starting off with the steak. This is dry aged.
Dry aged. Here at Char House we do 28 days. It's gonna have a little funk, so dry aged meat is not for everyone. I like it with the XO sauce.
Really. What are the 2 sauces that we're looking at here?
We got an au poivre and a red wine.
They're so good. What does it mean to bring dry aged beef to Chinatown?
You're talking about price here, you know, what the people that live around here can afford. So here we're using prime cuts. That already, when you buy it in, it's already that much more expensive.
Dragon salad. Eric, when it comes to authenticity, right? I mean, a lot of these dishes are maybe not authentic in the traditional way, but they're very authentically personal to you. It's not authentic in the way that stuff was cooked maybe 50 years ago.
Fusion was a word to describe 2 cultures on one plate. People started using that term in the wrong way. They just carry Thai food and they can have sushi and pad Thai in the same place. That's not fusion. That's like having 2 different restaurants in the same restaurant.
Yo, we gotta go at this foie gras.
So it's a fattened duck liver, and it's very unctuous and rich.
That is like a texture battle in my mouth right now.
It seems that it's like Asian. Do you try to put like the umami in everything, or like it's just
not everything, but you know there's that balance that you.
It was unctuous and it was scrumptious. That's my Jesse Jackson. It was unctuous and scrumptious.
We got the beef tartare.
We're gonna throw the quail egg, and then we're also. Some people don't like raw eggs, so they'll just do without it.
You all down with raw eggs?
Yeah.
Ooh. Also, a lot of the people who started businesses that built Chinatown started businesses for so many other reasons other than just like the love of food. Back then, you know, you're an immigrant, you gotta bring your family over.
Unless you're grandfathered in from before, you know, like it's very hard to make a living in Manhattan, especially like not just to mention New York, but we're in Manhattan. And that's why you see them moving out to Flushing, Brooklyn. That's why the food is better there. And that's why it's not as exciting here. But you know what? I'm here. We're gonna make things happen.
Hey,
Keep
talk
flavor.
that. Talk that.
Over here.
Yo, let's keep it moving with the food, man. We gotta try this XO shrimp.
There's like a play on like guacamole and salsa kind of thing with the shrimp.
Wow. That's good, man.
Oh, this is so good.
That shrimp is delicious. I've never had XO sauce with avocado. Wow, that tomato jam.
That's that fusion.
That tomato jam.
It's fusion, like you said, but done the right way. And so few places can claim that. Because like you said, that word is just like,
I mean, even I still hate that word, honestly. As a business owner, I hate that word. I call it like inspired, maybe.
the last thing you want is Asian fusion on your Yelp description.
That's exactly what it is. Like, for a restaurant owner, it's not fusion, it's inspired. Like, I'm trying to stay open for tomorrow, bro. Chill.
I gotta say though, when I saw the branzino, I didn't think it was gonna taste like a Cantonese steamed fish, but it totally did. This was even elevated one notch up. There was like extra ginger, extra spices. What did you do to this to even take the classic Cantonese steamed fish?
Branzino is a type of European bass. Puree ginger, and I strain the juice, and I just spoon the juice all over the meat before cooking. And then put the lemon inside.
Chris, you own a couple businesses. You're involved in a Chinese concept coming up soon, right?
Yeah, it's called Chino's, New York, 23 Pell Street. So we're gonna be the first rotisserie in Chinatown. We're gonna do some flavors. We're gonna have like a Szechuan style. We're gonna have like a sugarcane Thai style, you know, lemongrass.
Peking chicken.
Peking chicken. I'm about to steal the idea right now.
I'll give it to you.
Cut that out.
I'll blow the skin up.
What can like the Chinese take away from maybe the way the Japanese and Koreans price their food? The Chinese food is always considered so cheap, but just an amount of work goes into it.
I mean, the Chinese love value. You know, we're at a time where if you don't charge the prices, like the right prices, you're just gonna lose all these restaurants. You're not gonna even have that to taste anymore.
Do you think that's gonna change?
I think it's gonna change.
I don't think anytime soon, but I mean, like when I go to other places, I mean, like California, I mean, prices are a little better.
I think sometimes, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, sometimes as ABCs, we bought into their narrative about us. Like we started to believe what everybody believed about us. Like that we are only like low end, or we are only blah blah. So that's why I see so many ABCs push away from the culture.
That's what I hate too, man. I
Because
really hate that.
it's almost like you bought into other people's perception of you instead of having your own self-identity and knowing, yeah, I can see why you see that about us, but we just not showing our full leadership.
Self-esteem, self-confidence. you don't
Coming
believe in
soon,
yourself.
$15 char siu bao.
It doesn't have to be that cheap. Chinese tuxedo down there, $28 char siu.
That's really good char siu though.
It's good
Honestly,
char
I
siu.
had it, and that was pretty.
And it's cooked by an Australian guy. Some people feel some type of way about that, but I'm like, that's Chinese.
Hey man,
food.
I'm Chinese. I cook French. I don't mind.
Right,
you know?
right,
Like-
right.
Because if I say an Australian guy can't cook char siu, I'm saying the Chinese guy can't cook steak, right?
Right.
How would you want people to view New York's Chinatown?
Yeah, I want this Chinatown to kind of like lead all the world's Chinatowns all over to be an example of how beautiful it can be and how good the food can be and how diverse it can be.
If you would come to Chinatown, I think you should start with what makes Chinatown, starting from the bottom, the food stand people, the guys in the back of the kitchen, you know, those are the guys that make Chinatown, really, you know?
Chinese culture is sort of like the original Asian culture. Due to being the originator Asian culture, it's also sort of the most conservative. Will that mindset shift, or is it just so ingrained in Chinese history to be like dominant and non-adaptable?
Like my dad, he escaped China, right? Like he wanted to get away from the communists, but he's still telling me, I love the Chinese culture. There's so many great things about China. Like don't overlook just because of that bad leader.
That period.
Yeah, that period. Like it was a little tougher for him.
God gives the biggest players daughters. That's what they always say. That's
I never heard I like that. I mean, that's definitely what it is. I mean, especially when you have more resources, you have, you know, more connections, you definitely can give back a lot more.
Thank you so much to Char House. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Chris. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching that video. All right, in the comments below, let us know what you guys think about the idea of like a Chinese-inspired steakhouse, something that's very uncommon to the world right now. And also let us know how you guys feel about, you know, maybe your local Chinatown or Asia town changing. Thank you so much for watching that video. Shout out to Char House once again. And until next time, we out. Peace.
And then my grandmother was like the Victoria's Secret. She had like 4 trucks delivering lingerie.
Mao was not about the sexiness. Mao did not want. He didn't want no women looking sexy.
Who knows?
Mao
man?
no dong.